What if the greatest secret ever whispered by the ancient world began long before the first star was ever born, long before the first star ignited in the darkness, before oceans whispered against silent shores, before even time dared to move? There was only stillness. No sky stretched above, and no earth rested below. There was only an endless expanse of quiet shadow. The ancient storytellers would later call this beginning chaos. But was chaos truly the first thing that ever existed? Some forgotten whispers suggest something even older. A presence beyond form, beyond time, beyond the reach of gods. A silent observer who existed before creation itself. A supreme creator who did not build the world out of necessity, but out of curiosity. Why would such a being create a universe at all? Was it loneliness that stirred the first act of creation? Or perhaps a deeper desire to witness life unfold? To see countless beings meet, struggle, love, and change one another? A cosmic experiment played out across eternity, and so, within the silent void, something began to shift. The darkness trembled as if awakening from an endless sleep. A crack formed in the stillness of nothingness. From that fracture emerged the first known state of existence. The ancient Greeks would call it chaos. Chaos was not disorder, as we imagine today. It was a vast, yawning emptiness without boundary. A place where light had never touched and shape had never formed. Yet within its endless depth, possibilities stirred. Seeds of creation waited patiently in the dark. From the depths of chaos, the first presence slowly emerged. A being vast, ancient and alive in ways difficult to understand. Her name was Gaia, the living earth itself. Mountains slept within her bones, and oceans dreamed within her heart. But in those first moments, she existed completely alone. Gaia stretched across the silent void, feeling the emptiness around her. There was no sky to cover her, no stars to guide her. Only endless darkness surrounded her growing form. And even the earth, it seemed, longed for companionship. But what would answer that silent longing? As Gaia awakened, another force stirred within the cosmos. A presence born from the deep structure of existence itself. A force not of earth, but of attraction and union. The ancient myths would later call this power Eros, the invisible force that draws all creation together. With Eros moving quietly through the void, creation began to accelerate. The universe no longer remained still. Something was preparing to be born above the earth. Something vast enough to stretch across the entire cosmos. Something that would forever change the balance of creation. From Gaia herself, a new being emerged. A presence as immense as the endless horizon. His form expanded outward until it covered all things above. This was Uranus, the great sky, the first heavens to ever exist. When earth and sky finally faced one another, the universe held its breath. Two primordial forces standing at the dawn of time. Their union would ignite the next stage of creation. But what would emerge from such a meeting? The answer would shape the fate of gods, titans, and humanity itself. For from this union, something powerful was about to awaken. Beings older than the Olympian gods. Giants who would rule the early universe with unimaginable power. But their birth would also awaken jealousy, fear, and conflict. And what happened next would change the destiny of the cosmos forever. In the silent age before the rise of gods, the universe was still young. Earth and sky remained bound together in an ancient embrace. Their presence filled the newborn cosmos with a strange tension. Creation was no longer an empty possibility. It had begun to move. From the union of Gaia and Uranus, the first great beings emerged. They were immense, powerful, and older than any god that would come later. The ancient world would remember them as the Titans, not merely rulers, but living forces of the universe itself. But why were they created in the first place? Some myths whisper a forgotten purpose, that the unseen creator, who watched beyond chaos, desired something more. Not just a silent universe filled with lifeless forms, but a living world where powerful beings would interact and shape destiny, a cosmic drama unfolding across eternity. The Titans were the first actors in this grand design. Each one embodied a fundamental force of existence: the oceans, the light of the heavens, the rhythm of memory and time. They were not just rulers of nature, they were nature itself. Among them stood Oceanus, vast and endless, like the waters he ruled. Hyperion, whose light would one day illuminate the heavens. Mnemosyne, keeper of memory and ancient knowledge, and many others whose names echo faintly through myth. Yet one Titan would rise above the rest. His name was Cronus. Quiet, watchful, and patient, Cronus studied everything around him. While the other Titans embraced their existence, Cronus observed. He saw the power of Uranus stretching endlessly across the sky. He saw how even Gaia herself bowed beneath the weight of the heavens, and a dangerous thought began to grow. But Uranus himself carried a darker secret. For among the children born from Gaia were beings he feared deeply, creatures powerful and strange, hidden within the depths of the earth, the Cyclopes and the monstrous Hecatonchires, and Uranus could not bear the sight of them. So the sky made a terrible decision. Rather than allow these children to walk the world, he imprisoned them. He forced them back into the depths of Gaia's body, into the dark caverns far below the surface of the earth. Their cries echoed endlessly within the living planet, and Gaia felt every moment of their suffering. The earth herself began to ache with anger. How could a father imprison his own children? How could the ruler of the heavens fear his own creations? The balance of the young universe was beginning to fracture, and Gaia knew something had to change. But who would dare challenge the sky? She called upon her Titan children. One by one, they listened to her ancient voice, a whisper carried through stone, ocean, and starlight. She spoke of injustice, of suffering buried within her depth. She asked them to rise against their father, Uranus. But none dared move. None, except one. Cronus stepped forward from the shadows of the Titans, his eyes calm, his thoughts cold and calculated. Where others felt fear, Cronus saw opportunity. But what he was about to do would alter the universe forever. And far beyond the stars, something ancient continued watching. The night of the rebellion arrived without warning. No thunder rolled across the heavens. No star signaled what was about to unfold. Yet deep within the heart of Gaia, a silent storm was growing, and Cronus was preparing to act. Gaia had forged a weapon unlike any that had existed before. Not a sword of fire, nor a spear of lightning, but a curved blade of unbreakable stone. A tool born from the bones of the earth itself. A weapon meant to challenge the sky. She placed the blade into the hands of Cronus. Her youngest Titan stood quietly in the shadows. The other Titans watched with uneasy silence. Some felt fear, others felt curiosity, but none truly understood what would follow. Above them stretched Uranus, endless and unaware. The great sky covered the world like a silent dome. For ages he had ruled without question. No being had ever dared to challenge his authority. But that certainty was about to shatter. Cronus waited patiently as night covered the world. The darkness became his ally. When Uranus descended to embrace Gaia once more, the Titan king-in-waiting emerged from hiding, and the universe held its breath. With one swift movement, Cronus struck. The blade of earth cut through the power of the sky. A cry echoed across the newborn cosmos. It was the first scream of pain the universe had ever heard, and nothing would ever be the same again. Uranus was overthrown. The reign of the sky had come to an end. The Titans watched as their father's power faded. Some felt triumph. Others felt dread. For when one ruler falls, another must rise, and the balance of creation had shifted forever. Cronus now stood as the ruler of the universe. The Titans gathered around their new king. Mountains, oceans, and the heavens themselves felt the change. A new age had begun, the age of the Titans. But was this truly what fate intended? High above the unfolding events, the stars remained silent, and beyond even them, the ancient creator still watched, observing how power moved between creation, watching how choice and ambition shaped the world. Was this conflict part of the design all along? Cronus believed he had brought order to the cosmos. The Titans ruled the seas, the skies, and the land. The universe began to grow and expand under their power. For a moment, it seemed peace might finally settle. But fate was already whispering a new prophecy, a warning carried through the winds of time, a secret that would soon reach the ears of Cronus himself. It spoke of betrayal, of destiny repeating its cruel pattern, just as he had overthrown his father Uranus. One day, his own child would overthrow him. At first, Cronus dismissed the prophecy. How could any child challenge the ruler of the Titans? Who could possibly possess such power? Yet the thought lingered like a shadow in his mind, and fear, once planted, grows quickly. For the universe had not finished creating its greatest players. A new generation was slowly approaching, beings who would reshape the heavens themselves, the future gods of Olympus. And their arrival would ignite the greatest war the cosmos had ever seen. The prophecy settled in the mind of Cronus, like a shadow that refused to fade. At first, he tried to ignore it, dismissing it as a whisper of jealous winds. After all, he was the ruler of the Titans, master of the young universe. Mountains bowed to his authority, and the seas obeyed his command. But deep inside, the seed of fear had begun to grow. Cronus remembered the night he had overthrown his father Uranus. He remembered the silent moment before the strike, the certainty that destiny itself had chosen him. And a troubling thought slowly began to take shape. What if destiny had chosen someone else now? Time passed, and the universe continued to expand. Stars slowly awakened across the vast darkness of the heavens. Rivers carved paths across Gaia's living surface. The Titans ruled their domains with immense power, yet the balance of the cosmos remained fragile. Beside Cronus stood his queen, the Titaness Rhea. She was wise, patient, and deeply connected to the rhythms of life. Where Cronus ruled with caution, Rhea carried quiet compassion. But even she could feel the tension gathering around the throne. Something in the future was approaching. Then the moment arrived that Cronus had feared. Rhea gave birth to their first child, a powerful new being born from the bloodline of Titans. The universe seemed to tremble at the arrival of this new life. For a brief moment, joy filled the halls of the Titans. But Cronus remembered the prophecy, and fear overcame him. Without hesitation, Cronus took the newborn child in his hands. The Titans watched in stunned silence. Even Rhea could not believe what she was seeing. Then, in an act that would echo through myth forever, Cronus swallowed the child whole. It was the first of many. Each time Rhea gave birth, the same fate awaited the child. Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon. One by one, the children of Cronus vanished into their father. The king of the Titans believed he was defeating destiny itself. But destiny rarely yields so easily. Rhea's sorrow grew with each passing year. She was the mother of gods who had never seen the world, children who had never touched the sky or walked the earth. Her grief became a silent storm within her heart. And eventually, sorrow turned into determination. For when Rhea became pregnant once more, she made a decision. This child would not share the same fate as the others. Somewhere beyond the reach of Cronus, a plan was forming. A desperate gamble that could change the future of the universe. But what she was about to do would alter history forever. Far away, hidden in the shadows of the world, a child would soon be born. A child whose name would one day shake the heavens. A child destined to challenge the Titans themselves. The ruler who would lead the rise of a new generation of gods. And his name would be Zeus. The night Zeus was born was unlike any other. The winds moved softly across the sleeping world. Even the stars seemed to glow with unusual patience. It was as if the universe itself understood the importance of this moment, a moment that could change everything. Rhea knew she had only one chance to defy Cronus. If the Titan King discovered the newborn child, the prophecy would end before it began. So she traveled far from the halls of the Titans, far from the throne of Cronus and the watchful eyes of the heavens, to a hidden place where secrets could survive. On the distant island of Crete, deep within a shadowed cave, Zeus was born. The child cried out for the first time beneath the silent mountains, but even his cry carried the echo of something powerful, something ancient, as if destiny itself had taken human breath. Yet outside that cave, the danger still waited. Rhea wrapped a stone in the cloth of a newborn child. Its weight and shape mimicked the body of an infant. Then she returned to Cronus with the bundle in her arms. The Titan King did not question what he saw. Fear had already blinded his judgment. Without hesitation, Cronus swallowed the stone. He believed he had devoured yet another child of prophecy. And for a moment, the King of the Titans felt relief. He believed destiny had once again been defeated. But the truth was quietly growing in the shadows. Deep within the cave of Crete, Zeus was hidden and protected. Nymphs cared for him, while the mighty goat Amalthea fed him. Around the cave stood the warriors, known as the Curate. They clashed their shields and spears together each time the baby cried. Their noise hid the sound from the ears of Cronus. As the years passed, Zeus grew strong, but strength alone was not what set him apart. There was something in his presence that felt different, a spark of leadership, of courage, and something deeper, as if the universe itself had chosen him for a purpose. But would he accept that destiny? One night, as Zeus looked up at the stars, questions filled his mind. Why had he been hidden from the world? Why did the winds whisper his name as if expecting something from him? And why did he feel a strange connection to the sky above? The answers were waiting, but not yet revealed. Soon the truth about his family would reach him, the fate of his swallowed brothers and sisters, the tyranny of the Titan King Cronus, and the prophecy that had shaped his entire life. But what Zeus would do next would shake the universe. For the time of hiding was ending. A storm was quietly gathering across the cosmos. The Titans ruled the universe, but their reign was nearing its end. A new generation of gods was preparing to rise, and the war that would decide the fate of heaven itself was about to begin. The truth finally reached Zeus like distant thunder rolling across the sky. The story of Cronus and the devoured children could no longer remain hidden. Every word carried the weight of betrayal and ancient fear. His own father had swallowed his brothers and sisters, and the universe had waited for someone to challenge it. For a long moment, Zeus said nothing. He stood beneath the open sky, staring into the endless stars, those same stars that had watched the rise of the Titans, the same silent witnesses to the fall of Uranus. Was this cycle of power destined to repeat forever? Or could the universe finally change its path? But Zeus was not alone in this moment of decision. Deep within the earth, Gaia herself still listened. The ancient mother of creation had watched every generation rise and fall. She had seen ambition, fear, and destiny collide before. And now she sensed the arrival of something different. Gaia revealed to Zeus a dangerous truth. His brothers and sisters were not gone. They still existed within the body of Cronus, alive, but trapped in an endless prison of darkness. If Zeus could free them, the balance of power could change. But doing so would mean challenging the Titan King. And so the plan began. With the help of ancient allies and hidden wisdom, Zeus prepared his move. A potion was given to Cronus through clever deception, and when the Titan King drank it, the impossible happened. One by one, the swallowed children were forced back into the world. The first generation of Olympian gods had returned. Hestia emerged, followed by Demeter and Hera. Then came Hades and Poseidon, powerful and furious. For the first time, the children of Cronus stood together beneath the sky. 5 gods who had waited their entire existence for freedom. And at their side stood Zeus. But their freedom came with a price. Cronus and the Titans would never surrender their rule peacefully. The heavens trembled as the 2 generations prepared for war. Mountains cracked, and oceans roared with ancient fury. The great conflict known as the Titanomachy had begun, a battle that would decide the fate of the universe. For 10 long years, the war shook the cosmos. Titans against gods, thunder against raw primordial power. The very fabric of the world seemed ready to tear apart. But slowly, the balance began to shift, and Zeus rose as the leader the prophecy had promised. At last, the Titans were defeated. The Olympian gods claimed the heavens as their new kingdom. Zeus became ruler of the sky, Poseidon took the seas, and Hades ruled the underworld. A new order of gods now governed the universe. But the deeper mystery of creation still remained. For beyond the stars, beyond chaos itself, the ancient creator still watched. The universe had become exactly what it was meant to be. A living world where gods, titans, and mortals shaped destiny together. A grand story of conflict, choice, and interaction. And perhaps that was the true purpose of creation all along. And maybe, somewhere in the silence of the ancient myths, another forgotten secret is already waiting. Enter the night. Discover the world.